Failing to plan is planning to fail. It's really that simple. I've been getting a lot of phone calls this time of year. A lot of people are working with their coaches. A lot of people have business plans. I've put out a few emails saying, hey, you got to have a plan. So I want to walk you through the steps of business planning. The first part of business planning is, what do you think of when I say business planning? Is that goal setting? Is that objectives? What does that mean to you? What do the things look like to you? Okay, I'm going to ask the first question. When I sit down to plan for any business or any project that I'm working on, I ask the questions, what do you want? Okay, so I'll just say, what do I want out of this? What is my objective? I need to define what I want. I need to see the end of what my objectives are. To sit down and just start to write things, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, without a definition of what you're looking for is going to take you probably in a circle or frustrate you. Then I'll emphasize that if you don't have that plan, if you don't have that direction, if you don't know where you want to go, you will end up somewhere. And I'll guarantee you it may not be, or it won't be exactly where you want to be. So the second question I ask is, why do you want it? Okay, so I've defined what I want and where I want to go, and then I have to define why. Defining your why becomes the utmost importance, especially when things get tough. Okay, many people lose their steam when things get tough because they haven't defined their why. Okay, so now I know why I want to do it. Okay, then the third thing is, when you look at the third question I'll ask is, what do you want? Is what you want possible today? Okay, we're all learned about, have a big, hairy, audacious goal. And that goal may be, I want to sell 100 homes this year. When in reality, I'll ask, how many homes did you sell this year? And you'll say 10. And say, well, to have this big, hairy, audacious goal is awesome, but are you ready for it? Some goals, some objectives take years to get to. Others don't. I'm not saying you can't jump in the market and go sell 100 homes, but I will say you're going to need to be trained. You're going to need some education. You're going to need some practice. You're going to need some experience to be able to do that. So when you're looking at your goals, we want obtainable goals. I'm all about stretch goals. I have stretch goals myself, but I also have obtainable goals. Obtainable goals are non-negotiable, period. If I write a goal down and it's an obtainable goal, it's non-negotiable. Then you have your big, hairy, audacious dream of where I'm going with that. Okay, so sometimes, in a nutshell, we have to break up our goal setting into quarters or weeks or months or years, and it depends on what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so the first thing, now that I've defined that, I've defined what I want to do, why I want to do it for some motivation, and is it possible? Then I start to look at in order to achieve those goals, I have to have balance. Okay, and I'll explain this a little bit. A gentleman named, one of our great agents, Sean Wetton, years ago, I'm going to say 15 years ago, sat me down with what he called the 7 F's. I think it might have come something from a Stephen R. Covey workshop, but basically what it is say, okay, let's look at balance in life. Okay, and I'm going to use my marker here because I like to draw. I'm not a good artist, but excuse me, I'm going to draw it anyway. Okay, I look at this as your life, and this is what I'll call your capacity. Okay, at some points in our life, depending on what's going on, our capacity may be smaller, and at other times it may be larger. Okay, and that's what I say when I say, is it possible to do your goal with your capacity of what you've got going on in your life? Okay, so I'm going to go back to just my medium ring here. Okay, this is my capacity. The first part of it is I'm going to say, and this is, in my opinion, the most important part, is family. Okay, how's my family doing? Okay, then I'm going to basically say, okay, well, what's the next part of it? Well, that's my faith. Okay, faith. This is just your belief system. Whatever it is, what is your belief system? It usually ties very closely into family, sometimes not. Then I'm going to talk about fitness. And we're going to say, this is your health. Okay? Okay, the next part of it is I'm going to add my friends in there. Okay, and then I'm going to have some fun. along the way. Okay, what am I up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I left one. I'm gonna basically do one across here that just says I'm gonna put in my fulfillment of, and this is basically what makes me happy. Why do I get up every day to do all these things? And then the last one that really funds the whole thing is the finance. Okay, the finance piece of it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is, hey, this looks like a pretty balanced life. I got a good balance going on. Well, what happens if my health fails and this starts to swell? Okay, well, what happens is everything else has to fit in this side of the bubble. So we end up saying, okay, great. The health, you got a problem with your health. Okay, and this is my fitness is struggling. Okay, now I've got to fit all these other categories, all these other 7 into this side. Well, they get scrunched down. Okay, this could happen in your finances. And where this is a business coaching, I'm going to talk more and stay on the finance side of it for real estate. But what you need to make sure is that you're balanced. So what I've always done is taken a sheet of paper and I write at least 2 goals per category of the 7 F's. You can change it to whatever you want, call it whatever you want. What I'm looking for is that you have life objectives. I can't, in good conscience, go out here and say, hey, the only thing important in your life is finance, because I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to destroy your health. I'm going to destroy your family. I'm going to take everything away from you in the pursuit of one of those 7. So you have to be balanced, stay in balance. I'll spend some time later in the year on that. Okay? Then it comes to the finance piece, and we're still talking goals. I've got it. And I'm going to basically say, hey, look, in real estate, I got 3 buckets. I've got a referral bucket. Sorry, once again, for the scribbles. Okay? I got an advertising bucket. And I've got a prospecting bucket. I will challenge you that anything and everything done in the real estate world will fit into one of these buckets. Okay? This is where I will say most agents, when we start working with agents, will have one of these buckets that they're willing to do. When I go to sit down with a brand new agent in the industry, I'll simply ask them, do you know a lot of people? Okay, a lot of this, if you've ever met a man named Wayne Frederick, a lot of this is some things that he taught me, but the question is, do you know a lot of people? Yes or no? No, I just moved to the area. I don't know anybody. Okay, well, your database, your SOI or database is probably going to be pretty small for the first few years. We'll work on getting that built up, but that may not be your strong side. And I'll say, are you willing to pick up the phone and make outbound calls for business? Are you willing to prospect? Okay, are you willing to write letters? Are you willing to write cards? Are you willing to do pop-bys? Are you willing to get off your keister and get out there and go to work in one way or another of outbound prospecting? Are you willing to reach out to people? And if you say to me, no, so I just moved to the area, I don't have a database, and no, then I'm going to ask you, do you have a lot of money? Because you're going to have to buy your way into the market. We've seen this model work very successfully with companies like Zillow. Zillow bought their way into the market. You get enough money, I can rebrand to where the consumer believes Zillow is the center point of real estate. Okay? Well, most of us come into this, and money is the issue. We don't have it. We're not coming out of it with $100,000 in an advertising. Okay, so what we have to find for you is which one of these matches up to you. The other thing I like to do is give you a little personality profile test. And so I like the Alessandra test, but I also, the DISC test. You can go on to TonyRobbins.com, and for free you can take the DISC test. So you can go online and find a test. Then we look at what you actually are designed to do. So what is your chemical makeup? What are your God-given talents that you were born with that are with you. Most of those talents, before the age of 30 or 35, you can mold and modify. If you're 40, 45 years old, it pretty much is what it is. It's pretty much hard-coded in there. So we'll take that, and I'll look at that and combine the two and say, well, you think you can prospect, but your test shows that you won't. Well, does that mean you can't be a good prospector? No, it means you're gonna have to work really hard at it. But if you're a really good social person and you test out that you love people and you love social events, then you know what, guess what? We're gonna be doing a lot of open houses, and we're gonna be doing a lot of pop buys, and we're gonna be working in where our strengths are. So I will say this, many agents have one of these talents that they're born with. Some have two, and occasionally somebody shows up with all three. And this is no different than Broadway, okay? This is something where you can sing, you can dance, and you can act. You've got the trifecta of everything it takes to be ultra successful. Most of us settle in on two, and one of them we just say, I'm never gonna do it. You'll never see me ever pick up the phone and cold call. That's great. We can make it work on two. We can even make it work on one. But what we're really trying to do is spread it out and have a well-balanced business plan. So I'm going to stop there, give you something to think about, but look in at yourself and say, what am I? Who am I? How do I want to go to business? The happier you can be with life balance and knowing what area you want to go to business in and how you want to do it, the more successful you're going to be and the faster we're going to get you up to the top. So I hope you found this valuable. Stay tuned for our next business building tips. And if you have not, be sure to like and follow our page, In the Trenches of Real Estate. Thank you.